There's something sacred about land that's been in your family for generations. It's not just dirt and trees, it's a living thread tying you to your ancestors. A place where memories are carved into every inch. For me, that's our 17-acre slice of heaven, passed down through 6 generations over 150 years. I'm Emma Carter, and this land, nestled 20 minutes outside a mid-sized city, is my heart. Rolling hills, a creek slicing through the western edge, 8 acres of ancient forest, it's got it all. The old farmhouse my great-great-grandfather built still stands, patched up and expanded over time. My grandpa, Henry, threw up a barn in the 60s, and my grandma, Clara, planted an orchard that spits out apples so sweet they'd make you cry. Growing up, I spent summers and holidays here, tapping maple trees with Grandpa, fishing in the creek, or laughing at family reunions under towering oaks. Every corner holds a piece of meth treehouse Dad built when I was 8, the spot where we buried our dogs, the field where I learned to drive Grandpa's rickety tractor. When Grandma and Grandpa passed last year in February, 3 months later the land came to me. As the only grandchild obsessed with historical preservation, it made sense. I've spent a decade working for the State Historical Society, SAVYing old properties, so this was my calling. The place was always rural, surrounded by farms and woods, but lately, the city's been creeping closer. About 3 years ago, a developer bought the 30-acre farm next door and slapped up a subdivision sign, big houses, tiny lots, some pretentious name that screamed nature while bulldozing it. I didn't care much. I was busy with work and my grandparents' declining health. But 6 months ago, a letter arrived that turned my world upside down. It was fancy, heavy cardstock, embossed logo from the subdivision's Homeowners Association, led by a guy named Richard Voss. The header screamed, "Urgent. Notice of property jurisdiction." My jaw dropped as I read. They claimed my family's land was mistakenly left out of their development plans and was now under their control. They demanded $16,740 in backdated dues, offered a generous payment plan, and threatened legal action liens. The works if I didn't comply within 30 days. They even said I'd need their approval for any changes to my own land. I thought it was a mix-up. No way could this be real. The next morning, I called Richard. His voice dripped with smugness. "Yes, we sent that after our legal team's review," he said, like I was wasting his time. "Your property was misrecorded. It's part of our master plan." "That's impossible," I shot back. "We've owned this for over 150 years. We have the deeds." He laughed a cold, dismissive scoff. "Old papers don't trump modern agreements. Our lawyers have it handled. The dues are a steal for what you'll get." When I pushed, his tone darkened. "That farmland would be better as community space. We're planning a pool, a rec area. That creek? Perfect for a walking path. Fighting this will cost you." I hung up, stunned. This wasn't a mistake. It was a land grab. Over the next few days, I talked to neighbors, folks who'd lived nearby for decades. They were floored. One mentioned rumors of the subdivision expanding, with community amenities planned on my land. I walked my property line and found wooden stakes with orange flagging, planted without my permission. Someone had been surveying. That weekend, I crashed the HOA's monthly meeting, sitting quietly in the back as they bickered over garden gnomes and boat parking. Then Richard announced exciting progress on a rec center expansion, hinting at adjacent property with legal processes underway. I couldn't stay silent. I stood, introduced myself, and said, "There's a misunderstanding. My family has clear title since 1868. Richard smirked. "Those old papers won't hold up. Our community's needs outweigh one person hoarding land." Some nodded, others squirmed. As I left, 2 residents, Tom and Lisa, pulled me aside in the parking lot. "Not everyone's behind this," Lisa whispered. "Richard did this before, strong-arming a smaller property. The owners sold cheap to his brother-in-law's company. The pool contractor? His sister's husband." Tom nodded. "Just watch your back." Things got worse. Signs popped up on my land. Future community space. I tore them down. More appeared. Workers sprayed orange paint on trees near my creek, claiming HOA authorization. An HOA attorney called, tossing around eminent domain and community rights. Until I mentioned my own lawyer, then he backpedaled fast. Neighbors said the HOA was painting me as a selfish loner blocking progress. Cars slowed by my driveway. Strangers snapped photos. Once, a group picnicked on my property, acting shocked when I called it trespassing. I barely slept, jumping at every noise, checking for intruders. Security cameras caught Richard and his cronies strolling my land, pointing like they owned it. 2 months in, I hit rock bottom. Another threatening letter. Another surveying crew. Sitting at Grandpa's desk, I felt crushed. The HOA had money, lawyers, and no shame. For a moment, I thought about selling just to escape. Then, rummaging through old files, I found a folder labeled Land Grant Original. Inside was the 1868 grant signed by the state governor for my great-grandfather. A Union veteran plus a meticulous chain of title grandpa had compiled with a historian. This wasn't just my home. It was history. And history? That's my turf. I took a week off, DVYing in a research mode. Colleagues at the Historical Society and County Records Office confirmed my boundaries and title. A surveyor I hired double-checked. The HOA's claims were pure fiction. My lawyer, Sarah, specialized in land disputes and historical properties. This is airtight, she said. They're either clueless or committing fraud. My cameras caught Richard saying, "Once we get this, my brother-in-law's company starts building. The board won't know about our deal." Public records showed Richard's new LLC tied to his brother-in-law's pool company. Game on. I prepared for the next HOA meeting like a general. Sarah, the surveyor, and a historical society colleague, Mark, came with me. We set up a display. The land grant, title chain, survey results, all blown up big. I had a laptop ready with the security footage. Richard walked in, saw us, and froze panic in his eyes. He tried to block my presentation, claiming I wasn't a member, but board members overruled him. I stayed calm, laying out my family's history, the grant's significance, and the survey's proof. This land was given to a CIVYL war veteran, I said. It's under RE-VYEW as a heritage property. Sarah outlined the HOA's legal exposure. The surveyor confirmed the boundaries. Then I dropped the bomb. I played the footage of Richard plotting with his brother-in-law, scheming to hide their profits. The room went dead silent. A board member, Karen, a realtor, studied my documents and said, "These are legit. We have no claim." Never did. Another board member turned on Richard. "Was this for your own gain?" He stammered, but I slid the LLC records across the table. Chaos erupted. Residents demanded answers. Board members backpedaled. By the end, they voted to recognize my boundaries, retract all claims, fire Richard, and cover my survey and camera costs. The aftermath was swift. Richard resigned and fled the subdy VY Shown, his reputation trashed. His brother-in-law's company tanked. Karen, now interim president, delivered an apology and ensured every stake and sign vanished. I put up proper boundary markers and no trespassing signs, but made a peace offering. I let the subby VY Shown use my meadow for their fall festival, with a lawyer-drafted agreement. Some residents apologized, embarrassed by the ordeal. A month later, sorting through Grandma's things, I found a photo of my great-grandfather holding the framed land grant, standing proud by the homestead. Grandpa's caption read, "Our legacy isn't just the land it's protecting, what matters for those who come after." Sitting on the porch that night, I felt peace. Not just from winning, but from honoring my family's story. The land stands, as it always has, a monument to our past, a promise for our future. The HOA learned a hard lesson about boundaries, physical and moral. Sometimes, justice isn't about revenge. It's about standing tall and making sure what's right endures. So what do you think? Was I too harsh in exposing Richard's scheme publicly, or did he deserve the humiliation? Should I have sold the land to avoid the fight? Or was standing my ground worth it? Could I have handled the HOA differently, maybe negotiated instead of going nuclear? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're team justice, and subscribe for more stories where the underdog bites back.